Hey there, everybody. So we have some huge breaking news in the NHL. A month before the trade deadline, Elias Lindholm is going to the Calgary Flames per Frank Saravalli of the Daily Faceoff. In exchange, the Flames will receive a first-round pick for this year, a conditional fourth-round pick. Andrei Kuzmenko's salary is now on the books with Calgary. And then a couple of, prospects here in Yoni Yermo and Hunter. I'm not going to try with that one unless you can give me a guide on pronunciation there. But yeah, Elias Lindholm, you are a Vancouver Canuck. And as a result of that, we should have some interesting depth charts to ponder because Canucks, as we know already, are pretty loaded in their top six. And by doing this, you can also, you have flexibility with what you want to do with Pettersson. So, my God, some big news. Certainly one of the key names in the trade market. Hey, what's going on, Rick? Jake, by the way, thank you so much for actually posting this on our Discord. Otherwise, I would not have known. I was just going about my business, doing some editing. So I do certainly appreciate you doing that. And I appreciate you guys being here too. Hope you're, of course, ready for February. And maybe we'll get some other deals happening in that month leading up to the trade deadline, I believe March 8th. But yeah, Elias Lindholm is now official. Look at that. See, it's already on the Canucks Twitter. For Kuzmenko, a couple of prospects, a first-round pick for this year, and a conditional fourth rounder. You were wishing that, yeah, Kuzmenko in Chicago would have been a good deal. It's interesting because Chicago's actually been making use of their cap for the next couple seasons by signing players who I had in my trade deadline preview, so I already had to take that down. Now, who's the big fish? Well, we might even have to wait a couple more weeks to see if any other names surface out there. But like one guy who you wouldn't want to count out entirely is Jacob Chikrin. He's got 1 year left on his deal after next year. Declare. I guess, yeah, this is not a very big trade market for right now. What's going on, Dan? Going all in. Yeah, I mean, hey, we didn't expect them to be at this point just yet. But here, let's... they've shown us all year long that this is not some sort of fluke. This is not a flash in the pan. So we can take a look and see, has this trade actually been reported on Cap Friendly? Yes, it has. Okay, so now we should get some updated cap information for Vancouver. So right now they're at 0 cap space. I don't know if they actually have Lindholm on here. Yeah, so he's on the books. Lindholm being 29 years old. And at a $4.85 million cap hit. So it was an easy deal for them to make for the most part. Kuzmenko's name had been floated out there as possible trade bait. He just wasn't working out. He, unfortunately, last year was amazing for him, but he hasn't been able to build on that so far. But as for Elias Lindholm, in case you're curious as to what he was doing this season, in 49 games with the Flames, only 9 goals. Granted, they don't have a lot of high-end goal scorers on that team, and 32 points in those 49 games in total. But this is somebody who, again, has been at least at the 25 goal mark for a number of years, and he's hit 40 before, 42 in that crazy season that Calgary had a couple years ago. Hey, what's going on? you almost had it there. It's Nick, not Nate, but it's funny because I watch a channel where the host's name is Nate, but sometimes people will call him Nick. Anyway, hey, Clump Sauce, what's going on, man? Kuzmenko, yeah, 2024 first and more. Any word on the more? Yeah. So I'll put that on screen here. A 2024 first, a conditional 2024 fourth. Cap Friendly might have more information on that. Kuzmenko, who I believe has 1 more year left on his deal after this next year, and a couple of prospects. And that's it. And I mean, again, Lindholm was not even a $5 million cap hit. So this is something that they were able to, capitalize on. And I wonder if there are any other bids out there. We could, we might hear about that at some point. Hey, CJ, thanks for jumping in, man. Chris Tanev next. Yeah, we'll have to keep our ear to the ground if we hear more on Chris Tanev or if we hear about Noah Hannafin, right? That's somebody who could be signing a long-term deal in order to get dealt somewhere, and his value is probably about as high as it would be. And Calgary could sell off another piece or two, maybe so, maybe. But already we're seeing them active here in sort of resetting themselves because, yeah, I mean, it's been a hard first year for Craig Conroy as GM. Hey, Victoria, what's going on? Uh, that fourth might jump depending on how far the Canucks move up. The conditions for that. Do we have conditions? Doesn't look like we figured that out. That's just a fourth rounder though. But yeah, it's great to see that we're already getting some activity here to keep us busy and excited as to how these players are going to actually pan out in the short time frame that they have with their team. But really, when you look at the trade deadline, that happens only about 6 weeks until the end of the regular season. So those players don't have all that much time to adjust there. So if you're in a wild card race and you make that kind of a deal, you better know pretty quickly how that player is going to fit in onto the team's roster. All right. So, do we have any other tidbits on the trade here? You know what I'll do is I'll make a banner down below just in case. Can't wait for the All-Star game. Yeah? You guys are getting excited for that? I personally don't expect to watch it, but I hope that at least some of you out there are. Now, do we have this is one thing I like to play with here. Do we have an updated depth chart for the Canucks? No, they actually don't. Yeah, it just says unassigned under Lindholm's name. That's unfortunate because we could have some fun with that. But I mean, you're looking at a top six that already has the likes of JT Miller. He's having a very strong season. Pedersen continues to build on what he did last year. Brock Besser, great sort of resurgence or renaissance, or I don't even know what we should call it. But to see him scoring goals again after what's been a difficult couple of seasons for certain reasons off the ice. But yeah, I'm glad to see him, certainly contributing at a top six level. Oh, Larkin's tied it up. That shorthanded shot from Kachuk was pretty silky. He's primarily a center. I mean, I can't remember the last time he specifically played wing because he would play with. I think he played with. Well, that was the Gaudreau line a couple years ago. But yeah, that's someone who has a right-handed shot, so that gives you some versatility if you're looking for that. Of course, Vancouver having Besser there. So what do we got? 2-2 in the Detroit game. Yeah, it's been kind of slow pick or slim pickings for the rest of the week with the action that we have here. Right now, the Kings they could actually win a game for the first time in forever. I think there's something like 2-8-6 in their last 16 games. It's been I don't even know if we can say a free fall. It's just been a tire fire, a dumpster fire. And then tonight we've got in sort of a draft lottery related on a draft lottery related note here, we've got the Sharks coming off a big dub against the Seattle Kraken last night and taking on the Anaheim Ducks. The Sharks being, I think, 4 points back. So go Ducks. I hate to say it. Is Vancouver now ready for a serious run? I mean, they've got their goaltender playing the way that we've seen him before. And they've got Quinn Hughes just having an outstanding season. At the least, he's a Norris Trophy finalist. WTF, there's a Sens Detroit game. Yeah, there's a game on right now in the third period. Calgary's without an all-star. Oh, shoot. Is that what's been the case there? Who are they going to send? Yegor Sharangovich? Yeah, so otherwise they could send Blake Coleman is the leading scorer. And who would have thought, guys, that the top three scorers on the Flames would be Blake Coleman, Nazem Kadri, and Yegor Sharangovich. And their leading scorer last year was Tyler Toffoli. I mean, that gives you an idea as to how things have been faring in Calgary the last couple seasons. But I mean, now Vancouver again being kind of smart to. I mean, I don't think that this was trading away all that much. I don't think that's bad. I think that's actually a really fair trade for them. And yeah, isn't that crazy? They went from trading Horvat like exactly this time a year ago, and now they're getting in Lindholm. So they've kind of gained overall from that, right? Riley, good evening. Thanks for jumping in here. The Pacific Division is going to get a little bit more kooky now. Yeah, no cups for Vancouver or Buffalo. And here we were to start this year. Not everybody, but a decent amount of folks said, hey, the Sabres, they got a legit shot at getting in this year. But at least the Canucks are going to have a chance again. It's been a while since they've really been good. They've only like truly qualified for the playoffs. If you take out 2020, I think that they've made it like once in the last 10 years, 9 years. Yeah, so Ethan had asked, has Vancouver won a cup? No, so they've been to the final 3 times. They went in, I think, 82, and then they went in 94, and they weren't, I don't think they were anywhere near like a top seed in the Western Conference, and they went all the way to Game 7. In 1982, they lost, of course, to the Islanders, right, the dynasty, and then they went in 2011, and they lost in 7 games. Do we have any Canucks fans in the building here? You have a wrestling match or as a ref on March 9th. Well, that's kick ass, man. Congratulations. Oh, I bet you're going to have so much fun with that. Lindholm came through in a blockbuster and now he leaves in one. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think that at one point Elias Lindholm was a Carolina Hurricane, but that was a fairly long time ago, and the Carolina Hurricanes have made themselves over so much. I mean, God, at one point they had Adam Fox, right? But here he is, someone who can contribute a fair amount at both ends of the ice. So if you even need to plug him in on the penalty kill, I know the Canucks aren't typically that great at the penalty kill, then he would be your guy for it, right? So that's gonna help a lot. Miss him with the Canes. Well, while I might miss having his presence on a team like that, I do not miss those uniforms. That's for sure. The chances of Tanev becoming a Leaf, I could see that happening. The Leafs are kind of that team that, while they're not necessarily like the most, physical, they have some good players like in the bottom 6, but they're a team that says, okay, we need someone physical. And so that's probably something that they would afford to do. I don't think that he's going to command. Do you think that Chris Tanev would command more than a first? He doesn't even. His deal ends at the end of this year, right? They'd have to get rid of Nick Robertson. I don't know how things have been going for him, but my co-star here, she says, "Why am I not on camera?" But I mean, I think that sounds pretty realistic. Hey, what's up, girl? Cortana, we got you. Can we see her? There she is. For those of you who don't know, Cortana had a birthday 2 weeks ago. Here, actually, you know what we'll do? We'll hide my screen because there she is. Who's been a good girl? Cortana's bored because, there are only a couple games on tonight. All right, there we go. Oh, wow, 16 months you've been a member. Way to go, man. But yeah, we'll definitely have to look out for other Flames because although I don't think any of them would necessarily get packaged together, I wouldn't leave that out entirely as a possibility. No one remains from that one. Yeah, just like that. Not even 2 years afterwards, right? And then they host the Oilers in the second round, right? That's right. In the second round, they score 9 goals, and then things just fell apart immediately after that. Man, it's something. The Flames are selling right now. Oh, absolutely. Because again, I mean, this team, the leading scorers on this team are Blake Coleman, Nazem Kadri, and Yegor Sharangovich. Jonathan Huberdeau is 8th on the team in scoring. You were at the Blues game last night? Well, it's unfortunate that they spoiled your graceful presence there, as they've been playing really well up until now, which is good. I mean, hey, if you're going to lose a game just before the break, that's fine, right? Even if you've been on a heater, you'd rather them like lose that and then be like, oh man, that still kind of stings. And then the All-Star break happens and then they, get back into it. Thank God the Rangers didn't trade assets for him. The Rangers are not contenders and should be sellers. Man, they've really dropped off recently, haven't they, David? I mean, that division lead looked like it was a very fluffy, cozy pillow. And now it is just paper thin. Just like that, man. Lindholm will now come to life like you expect him. Right. I mean, sometimes a change of scenery, right? Someone who plays on a struggling team, they've given it their all, right? They've played at all three zones for all situations, and they just want, they just want to be on a team that's whose talent is hitting its peak. And I mean, Miller's still looking really good. Obviously, Pedersen's just reached an elite level now and has shown that's going to be his game, in the long term. And then, of course, what Quinn Hughes is doing. I mean, they have the thing with the Canucks is that they have like elite players at every position, and so I think that there shows that they are a team that's going to be challenging to face possibly over the next few seasons, because Demko's what, 27, Quinn Hughes is what, 23. I don't know, but they have players who have lots to give, lots in the tank. Jets need Scheifele back. Oh, so I haven't even been tracking that Scheifele's been out. So, but I know that they've been on a bit of a slide, right? So, hey, that's maybe a bit of a market correction because they were rolling so well without Kyle Connor. But they've been an excellent team from the get go. So I'm sure that they can kind of find what was making them successful originally, and that the All-Star break will be a good chance to kind of reset there. Kane started a bit slow, but picked up. Yeah, they're the goaltending was not looking good, and then Kachekov's looked a lot better. And the problem with them is that it's a carousel because they always have three goaltenders who could play any night because at least one, if not two of them, are injured. It's kind of weird. Velarde and Mark were both out 5 games. Well, you know what? It could be worse. You could be the LA Kings, but the Kings are actually still leading. Yeah, look at that, 2-0. They might actually not lose a game. Nashville still kind of hanging on to the playoff picture there. But yeah, it's great to have around 50 people hopping in here with us. I'm not going to be here forever because this is just, it's a pretty straightforward trade. It's not like the Canucks have said, oh, by the way, we're going to, here, let me share my screen here. It's not like it's not like the Canucks are going to say, all right, here are the lines for the next game, because now they've got some time to figure out the ways that they could insert him into the lineup, and they don't need to rush that. What line would he be on? The second line? So I would probably have to go to a different like Twitter account to get some ideas on that, right? So like, has Clay Emo, a Canucks super fan, has he chimed in just yet? Actually, no. But I'll let you know if I find out any more sort of a consensus, if there's a consensus on that sort of thing. That's cute. All right. So Dubois seems to be the common denominator, right? It just kind of is what it is, man. I mean, we've seen that before. Patrick Waugh taking charge of the Islanders. That came out, and that was totally out in left field. Of all of the names that are out there, even coaches who've been fired, Daryl Sutter or not Mike Yeo. I mean, hell, Mike Yeo could always be hired. Like Dean Evison and Craig Berube. And then they go with a guy who hasn't been behind an NHL bench as a head coach in 8 years? Pedersen, Lindholm, Mikheyev. You want to keep Miller and Besser together, you're saying? Yeah. Unfortunately, they haven't assigned him to the depth chart just yet. But that gives you a lot of balance, which is good. Mika and Kreider. Oh, so you would consider actually selling those guys, huh? And I know that, they're just one of a multitude of teams who've been hit with some brutal injuries, but considering that's just kind of been the weird norm this year in the NHL, so they got to find a way, if they still consider themselves capable of finishing in the top 3 in that division. Speaking of which, I mean, there is still quite a bit of a drop off, right? It would take a catastrophic finish for the Rangers to miss the playoffs. They're still 7 points clear of Philly with a game in hand. I mean, there's still time left, but I mean, Philly, they're hanging in there, right? The Capitals, they've faded a little bit. They're still somewhat in the picture, New Jersey still, I mean, talk about a team that's been injured, right? Talk about a team that's been banged up. Pittsburgh still hanging in there as well. Uh, yeah, and the cool thing with Lindholm is, again, you can use him on the penalty kill as well. This is a huge move for the Canucks. Absolutely is. I mean, they're not messing around at all. All right, Riley, have a good time as doing your zebra thing, man. Never heard of the prospect that the Canucks gave up, so you're not mad. You know what? Same here. I mean, I'm not a Canucks fan, but that's what I thought. I haven't heard of these guys before, so I'm not a prospect whisperer. But let's take a look. Yoni Yermo and a 2024. Oh wait, yeah. So let's see elite prospects. Yeah, I want to see who these guys are. Yoni Yermo. Born in 02, so he's what? He's 21 still, and he was a third round pick by the Canucks, and he's been playing in Finland the whole time. And he hasn't been, tearing it up by any means. So I don't think that that's by any means a big loss. And Hunter, what is that? Hunter Brewer. Oh wait, there we go. So this other prospect that the Canucks drafted was also a third round pick. So I mean, there is upside, there is potential there. This guy is he's not even 20, he's 19. So he's having a good season too in the OHL. So the Flames get a little bit of help for the prospect pool, but nothing super high end. So, and that don't forget that first round pick that the Flames get, that's going to be, for all we know, that could be the last pick of the draft, because Vancouver, what does their draft situation look like now? Don't worry, if you just ask me a question, I'll try to get to that in just a quick moment here. So Vancouver doesn't have their second, but yeah, they still have some draft capital if they want to get really aggressive. I couldn't really imagine them doing more to like sacrifice a first round pick, but nice job. And I think Patrick Alvin just signed an extension too, so things are looking good, man. Lucas Raymond just got hurt. Oh shoot! Everybody's got like key big players out of their lineup now. Capo on the block. Capo Caco. We could also add Capo Kakin into that probably. Oh, thanks, Nick, and thanks for joining us. Nashville just scored, so the Preds close it to 2-1. Zachary, what's going on? Yeah, actually, I'll just only quickly weigh in on this. So there are 4 NHL players and one former NHL player, and I usually just don't form an opinion on this stuff until we actually get the investigation where the trial takes place in this case. So it's like I'll wait until we actually figure out what the full picture of this is. Is Lindholm still going to represent Calgary? Oh yeah, that's a good question, because yeah, I got an Instagram. There was something in my Instagram feed about John Scott like 8 years ago today won the All-Star MVP. So yeah, because he was Montreal's choice for the All-Star game. Isn't that what it was? I forgot. Was it Montreal? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. They've all pleaded not guilty. I mean, that's just what happens in these trials, unless there's some sort of a plea deal or whatever. So anyway, Nashville's back on the power play, and I think the Predators can actually score on the power play versus previous years. 57 points in 67 games. Is that Lucas Raymond? Yeah. Let's see here. Lucas Raymond, how we looking? Oh, Must be somebody else. Well, anyway, so yeah, I mean, I think that this is again to get this and not be like in a real bidding war. I mean, we'll see if any other team floated something out there to the Flames, but I don't think that that's a huge. I don't think that that's too big of an exchange for the Canucks. It's going to OT now between the Red Wings and the Senators, huh? John Scott was Arizona's All-Star representative. Got it. Okay, thanks for clarifying that. So yeah. Now the Canucks, of course, like many other teams out there, don't play for a while, right? So we're not going to see Elias Lindholm in a blue jersey anytime immediately. The Canucks' next game is when? They're going to play their first game. The Canucks' first game is actually, check that out. It's on February. Oh, wait, that's January. But yeah, the Canucks' next game is in Carolina. So Elias Lindholm, his first game, gets to actually face a team he used to play for. You still think that Calgary is the trade winner at first? I mean, you also have to consider that this year, because the pool of available players is not nearly as deep as it was last year. This is more of a seller's market. So, in other words, the team selling off assets can actually coax the buyer's general manager into giving up maybe a little bit more. Well, anyway, I would like to, as Derek Zoolander says, I would like to continue talking about this conversation at some point, but I do have to go because my timer just went off and it's pork tenderloin and I get very ravenous with that. So anyway, hey, congrats to the Canucks for getting Lindholm, and the Flames at least get something in return to help them with. Well, we'll see just how big of a rebuild this is, because I mean they have a lot of money tied up long term in some veterans, even though they have some others who haven't been signed and should be traded elsewhere, like Hanifin and maybe Tanev. So thanks for jumping in here, everybody, and stick around if there are other big trades going down or any sort of rumors or something like that. We'll have a live stream, if not some sort of video coverage of that. So thank you guys, and I'll talk to you again real soon. Actually, we'll let Cortana say bye-bye, okay? Here, let's give it up for Cortana here. Oh. She doesn't know what's going on. Hey girl, do you want to say bye? Say bye to all our viewers out there. Hey, Theo, by the way, congratulations, man. Dubbed for the Flames. I think that this is a great deal for the Canucks. I don't think the Flames were asking for nearly too much. And maybe they can turn something into one of those prospects. The American guy, Hunter Bruce-Dewitz, or whatever his name is, he's doing some good things in the OHL this year. So that's a plus. Anyway, have a great evening, everyone. We'll have more trade deadline coverage soon.